You recording already? Oh, okay, got it. Just came up.
It came up? Good.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, all these technologies, and thank you, Mary Ann. Keep us on course here. I'm just about to that point. I think we'll get started and welcome everyone. We've been talking about vacations, but we need those when we can get away. And fortunately, I had that opportunity. And it was great. I hit 13 states and saw a lot of people at a memorial that I went to for my sister, but it was good. 5,600 miles, and we stopped several times. With that, good morning, and I think we'll start by welcoming the one I haven't seen. Les, good morning to you, and Karen, we haven't seen you in a long time. I don't know if you're there, but you're welcome to let us know you're there. I think we'll start with Carol McLaren. If you'll give us a financial picture of the organization, then I'll introduce our speaker.
Okay, well, our savings account, the month ending August. Wait a minute. I think I got the wrong one.
And welcome Joe Clark and Myra. Myra, we haven't seen you in a while.
Okay.
But we had your birthday. We had a drive-through birthday for Myra. That was fantastic. And Beulah, BJ is on board. Great. Go ahead, Carol.
Okay, month ending September 30th. Savings account was $12,044.78. And the checking account started with $3,260.09. Deposits for the months were $178.94. There were no checks written. So the month ending amount was $3,330.03. And Lorraine, did you get that from Larry? Okay.
Thank you. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our speaker for the day. I can't say enough about her. I got to thinking about the past. We got somebody there? Okay. I looked at our speaker's little bio that she provided me, and I'd like to just identify her as with adjectives. She's amazing, self-taught in computers. She's motivated, dedicated to KCS, resourceful, helpful, and persistent. Reading about her past, she did a lot on her own to get where she is. Excuse me. And she learned about a job with the Gate Foundation needing trainers with computers, and they were putting computers out to rural libraries. And she sold herself. She became a trainer, and she is a trainer today. And many of our members are taking that step to attend her Friday sessions. And I turn to her quite often because if she doesn't know the answer, she will get you the answer right away. Please welcome our speaker for the day, Mary Ann Gonpar. You're on.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Well, I'm going to use you guys today as guinea pigs for a program that I have only used once or twice at the library for teaching, and it's really cool. It uses PowerPoint slides, but if you upload them into Google Slides, which are an online version, you can have captions. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to turn on my little slideshow that I made for today, and we'll see how this works, because I think this is a really neat way to share. So share screen, come on, share screen. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to launch this program. And I can turn on, close. I'm also going to turn on the laser pointer. Yes, I love the laser pointer. I was playing with that, and I'm going to turn on captions. Okay, so now as I talk, or any of the rest of you talk and ask questions, you'll be able to see captions down at the bottom of your screen. So let me know if you can see those captions. Yes? Great.
Yes.
I think this is a really nice tool for doing presentations, because sometimes people have trouble understanding what the speaker is saying, but this way they can also follow along at the bottom of the screen. And you should see these captions recorded in the recorded version of this meeting. So this is something that I'm thinking about using in the future in some of my classes. Anyway, I see that many of the people that are here today have already attended my classes in the past. But for those who have not, and perhaps for those who watch this presentation later, we can encourage them to come and join us on Fridays. Why are they free? I know there's a tendency sometimes for people to think that, free, you get exactly what you pay for. But I don't think that that's necessarily the case, especially for our computer classes, the various people that teach classes through KCS. Because we all have information to share. In the Friday Zoom sessions, we bring our questions and the things that we have discovered in the course of the week, we bring those to the group. We help each other, other people that get together in this Zoom session, answer questions or share things that they have discovered in the course of the week or over time. And I think most importantly, we figure out how to find answers on our own. Because even though Ed's been very generous and said, if he doesn't know something, he asks me, the reality is that I don't know everything. Larry doesn't know everything. Al doesn't know everything. But all of us know how to go about finding those answers. And so I really think that the most important thing that happens in my Zoom sessions on Fridays, and probably in the other guys as well, is that we figure out how to find the answers. We almost always start with the question, what's been going on in your computer world this week? What questions have come up? Because I think those spark the best discussions. There are times, and when I was preparing for this presentation, I came across something that I think will make a good topic for one of the Friday classes, a whole bunch of wonderful tips on how to use Google. So that's a kind of a preview of coming attractions. But quite frequently, I like to start on Friday mornings by going around the circle and asking what's been going on in your computer world this week, because people will bring their questions to these sessions and we may go off in a completely different direction from whatever it was that I thought about talking about, because at the time that you ask the question is the best time for you to figure out the answer. It's when it's still top of your mind. And I think perhaps one of the nice things that Zoom has afforded us is the ability to share the screen. So if you're having a challenge on your computer and you ask a question during the Zoom session, we have the ability to share screens so we can effectively all look over your shoulder at whatever it is that's misbehaving on your computer, and everybody can learn while we work through the problem. So we start with the question. My Zoom sessions are meant to be a safe place where you can ask dumb questions. And those people who have ever attended my in-person classes way back in the day know that I always used to award chocolate for dumb questions. Anybody that asked a good dumb question or a bad dumb question got chocolate. And I think that's important because so often people would be sitting there in class and they, after a while, if they saw somebody else ask a question and they didn't have any tomatoes thrown at them, and we actually worked through the process and solved their question, then they'd raise their hand, and they would ask the question. And it would turn out that 3 other people in the room had the exact same question or had something very similar happen. And we are all pretty much of a certain age, and we kind of grew up in a world where sometimes you'd be ridiculed if you asked a dumb question in class, if not by the teacher, perhaps by your fellow students. And so a lot of times we were worried about asking a dumb question, but those are the best questions. Those are the ones that bedevil all of us. So anyway, my sessions are intended to be a safe place where you can ask dumb questions. And believe me, if I could figure out a way to throw chocolate through the screen, I would do it. Another good conversation starter in the Zoom sessions is, what do you want to do with this tool? Because a computer is only a tool. It's only a means to do other things. So our sessions, Larry's sessions, they're really often freewheeling opportunities for you to find out how you can accomplish something that you want to do. So often people come to these classes and they think, or they say, I just want to learn computers. But that's such a broad area, that's such a broad topic. It's really more important to know what it is that you want to accomplish with your computer, because everybody does something different. And that's a lot of what we explore in class, because that inevitably brings up some of these good questions. So the computer is only a tool. It is not an end in itself. These days, you need your computer to do practical things, like renew your license tabs. How many people have renewed their license tabs online, especially during the pandemic? I just did this with one of my cars, and no, I love that. And went to the Washington State Department of Licensing, and I was able to renew my tabs online and have them mailed to the house. And these are things that I will continue to do even after the pandemic is over. I think I will continue to renew my license tabs online. That sure beats going and standing in line. Making doctor's appointments. How many people have made doctor's appointments online? How many people have had a doctor's visit online? I had my annual checkup with my primary care physician online as well. I'm at Virginia Mason, and on their patient portal, I can schedule my classes I can schedule my visit online. I can check my results from my lab tests and stuff like that. If I know how to use this tool, if I know how to navigate around on their website, I can do all these marvelous things. Periodically, I will just send comments to my doctor. If I've read an interesting article, I'll open up the messaging tool and I will send her, hey, look at this interesting article that I read just recently. I will share that information with her. So you can use your computer to participate in our democracy. I recently helped with the League of Women Voters. Whoops, back up. The League of Women Voters hosted a bunch of candidate forums online, and they were recorded. This is the one for the mayor of Bremerton, I believe it is. So they recorded them live.
Good evening and welcome to this Zoom webinar forum with the candidates for City of Bremerton Mayor. This forum is sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Kitsap County. My name is Linda Streiskoof, and I will be the moderator for tonight's event.
So how many of you have taken advantage of that, have attended a candidate forum online? Our candidates want to be seen, and I think one of the neat things about Zoom is that probably more people can attend those forums than can necessarily get in their car and drive somewhere, even if we weren't in having concerns about COVID right now. I think that Zoom candidate forums and recorded candidate forums make it possible for us to participate in our democracy a lot more. Was there a comment out there or was that a cough? That was a cough. Okay. Anyway, so there's the county commissioners, there's all of our local elected politicians are all doing different kinds of online forums. And if you know how to use the tool, and if you sign up for these, here's a whole list of them. I'm running my little pointer across it, you know, of all the different meetings that you can attend if you want to and be an active participant in our democracy. And of course, you can connect with friends and family. You can send and receive email. You can write and send out the Christmas letter to everybody to let everybody know what you've been doing and how you've subverted the lockdown. And you can attend Zoom meetings. So I would be willing to bet that most everybody here today has gotten together with friends or family on Zoom just for fun. I think I put a link in here. It was a birthday party. This is a Zoom birthday party. Yes. So here's somebody having, I found this on YouTube. Somebody recorded a Zoom birthday party. It was her surprise Zoom birthday.
Oh,
So-
no, I hope someone managed that.
So this group of friends all got together and had a birthday party for their friends. So I hope all of you have taken advantage of Zoom to be able to do that as well. So connecting with friends and family, that's been huge. And of course, you can follow the news. I read several different newspapers online and several different magazines online. And because I read them online, I don't have to recycle them. I don't have a stack of newspapers piling up by my door. It's probably hard on the Boy Scouts who used to collect all that stuff and make money off of it, but it is pretty handy for not having stuff clutter up my house. So you can follow the news. Did I find here? Oh, yes. This is one of my favorite news sites. It's called All Sides. And what it does is it gives you news stories from the right, from the center, and from the left, so that you can get all sides of the story. The All Sides website, I recommend this to a lot of my students at the college as well. They rate media bias because what we're hearing a lot of in the news, of course, right now is that the media is biased and nobody is completely unbiased. But I really like this website and I recommend it to my students all the time because I believe that if we read a variety of coverage from all across the spectrum, then we're bound to be able to distill for ourselves a more complete picture of what's going on. So I love the All Sides website. So this is the kind of thing that we share in the Friday classes, is what we've learned, places that we found where we find interesting information. And there's so much more. You can listen to music. I was poking around looking for some music yesterday to add here, and I got Dolly Parton. Oh, and they're going to make me watch an ad, and I don't particularly want to watch an ad, but I did find a wonderful Dolly Parton video. Oh, here's her greatest hits. Probably put an ad on that as well. Oh, no. Okay. I love Dolly Parton. I just think she's wonderful. Anyway, so you can listen to music. You can watch movies. We've done several sessions where we've talked about different free streaming services. Les got a Roku device. I think it was Les, or might have been Les, might have been somebody else. Got a Roku device, and we figured out how to hook up the Roku device to their TV set and be able to watch movies, because this particular one on the Peacock channel is free. So there's a lot of good movies out there that you can watch for free on your computer, or you can plug your computer into your television set and then watch it on the big screen. I think in one of our Zoom sessions, we talked with Les about how to receive opera on his iPhone and then what was called casting, send it to his TV set, because watching opera on an iPhone screen is not very much fun. It's too teeny. So, but you can watch movies, you can watch television. What did I pull up on television? On Peacock TV, I think I pulled up The Voice. So if you're a fan of The Voice, you can watch The Voice and many other programs as well. So you can do that. You can travel. Travel is one of my favorite things, and that's what we were talking about before this got started. Here's a video from Rick Steves.
Hi, I'm Rick Steves, and this time we're exploring the best of Western Ireland. And we're starting about as west as you can get on the Aran Islands, where
So you can travel to places that you may otherwise never get to visit in person. I would love to go to Easter Island, but I don't know that I'm ever going to actually make it to Easter Island among all of the many places that there are to see in the world. This was a video earlier today. There we go. So this was a video on Nova. PBS has all sorts of wonderful videos of their of programs that they've done. So I know that I'm not going to be able to get to every place, every corner of the world that I would like to visit, but I sure can do a lot of it online with using my computer. And again, if I figure out how to connect my computer to my TV set, I can even do it on the big screen on my TV set. So our Zoom classes are about how to do that stuff. You can attend theater and concerts. Let me see what I've got here. What did I save here? Oh, yeah. This is the trailer for Hamilton. So for those of you who haven't seen Hamilton yet, this was, it came out on the Disney Channel, and I took out a $6.99 subscription so that I could watch it. This just walked away with all the Tonys in its year. Great show. So you can do theater and concerts, and like I said, with Les, he can watch the Met. And another lady that's in our class who lives in San Francisco, when she can't go to the opera, she can watch it on her computer. There's Opera on Demand. So the Met broadcasts theirs, and there's probably several other opera companies that also broadcast on demand that you can subscribe to. And I know I've seen, and I didn't record it, or I didn't save a shortcut to it, but there are also performances all over the world that you can watch from the comfort of your own home. So again, you need to know how to find it and then how to connect it up to your computer. I also found some a bluegrass website that has it has live on air shows, and it also has recordings from previous performances that you can listen to their music. I like American Roots. I've heard them on PBS before. So there's stuff like that. There's just about any kind of music that you could possibly want. Also, one of the things that you can get to on your computer that we have talked about in class are lectures. This is Town Hall in Seattle. And this was a presentation by David Brooks, who's I believe he writes for either the New York Times. I think it's the New York Times, and he's a great columnist. And I didn't realize it, but in the beginning of this presentation that he did, he talks about that his parents, he was originally from Seattle before he settled, before his parents moved the family back east. But the Town Hall in Seattle has a lot of events, and they record their past events and they make them available for us to watch online. I took out a small subscription just because I wanted to appreciate the fact that they were doing all these presentations, but you don't have to. A lot of this stuff is free. And people who've been in my classes know that I'm a big fan of free, especially now that I'm on a fixed income and I'm getting mostly Social Security. So there are other fascinating presentations that are available online. This is from the TED. And they have marvelous lectures on all different kinds of things. Oh, this looked interesting. Mexico's ancient chocolate making tradition. So a presentation on the TED stage, but there's just about everything that you can think of. Fascinating people doing interesting things all over the world, sharing what it is that they do, again, for free on TED. So, but you have to know how to use the tool to get there. That's what the Friday Zoom classes are all about. They are about the basics. We start with the basics. And this is one of my favorite places to send people when we're talking about the basics is GCF Global. They have all different kinds of classes that are all free. Here's a section on their section on computers, computer basics, basic computer skills, even how to use the mouse, how to type, tech savvy trips and tips. They have more complicated stuff as you gain experience. They have interesting stuff on smartphones and tablets. We've spent several of our Friday sessions talking about iPads and Android phones and iPhones and figuring that out. I have a wonderful co-teacher that sits in on these classes, Jose from the Kitsap Regional Library. And Jose is an all things Apple guy. And so he's figured out how to share his screen from his iPhone. And I've sort of figured out how to share my screen from my Android phone so that when people ask questions about their phones, we can answer those questions. So the GCF people also have all these additional skills that once you understand the basics of how to use your computer as a tool to get to additional information, they have stuff on wearables. So those would be things like Google Glasses and whatnot, and information on things for, let's look at this, the now. What's in the now? Virtual reality. And what is a drone and what are self-driving cars and all this sort of stuff. We have from our computers a front row seat to all of these kinds of information. We just need to talk about them in the beginning computer Zoom class and then apply that information and get on the machine and go looking for additional information on our own. But in our beginning class, we talk about how to find it. We ask questions, we share what we have learned, and then we figure out how to figure out what we don't know. This is the most important part because nobody has all of the answers to everything. And in every single one of our Zooms, people come up with questions that I haven't thought of before. And so probably the main thing that we do is we say, okay, if I wanted to know about this thing, how would I go about finding it out? So that's the how to figure it out. Ah, yes, this is the article I came across. 20 Google search tips to use Google more efficiently. I think this is what I'm going to talk about this Friday. I'm going to go through this article because I know there are some tips in here of things that I have done or have not done in Google that I know will come in handy. So I'm going to work my way through this article and see if I can come up with some new and interesting tips to share with people on Friday in class. So I'm always finding out new stuff that I want to share. Nobody is too dumb for this class. And if you come and join us and share information and ask good questions, and then critically, if you go practice some of the things that we talk about afterwards, because it doesn't just soak into your head by watching it. You might just surprise the rest of your family with some of the things that you learn and that you can show them. We record these sessions in the same way that this presentation or this meeting is being recorded. You can turn your camera off so that you don't have to have your face showing if you haven't combed your hair in the morning. And we post the recordings on a free YouTube channel. So here's my free YouTube channel. I always put a link to this in the weekly announcement that I send out, but here are my Friday classes going all the way back to the beginning of the pandemic, really. I think it goes back to July of 2020 at the very least. So you can always go back and watch one of the earlier classes. If you missed it on Friday and you still want to see it, you can do that. And one of the nice things about watching any one of these, remember, when you're looking at a YouTube, I'm going to turn off the sound. If we're just babbling on about something that you're not interested in, you can always move forward. So you can drag the little red circle at the bottom there and move forward and maybe get to, you remember that there was some sort of a demonstration about how to do something. You can drag the little red ball forward until you see that demonstration. And that's the part that you're interested in seeing. You don't have to sit through all the boring stuff to get to it. So try to record all of those. When I make a step-by-step handout, which I try to do when I've come up with some new wonderful idea that I want to share, I post them. And this is free as well. This is a Zoom website. Sorry, this is a Google website. And I just put one up this morning. I put one up this morning. Where was it? Oh, I put up a copy of this PowerPoint, if you want to go back through this PowerPoint and see it. And I also talked about, 15 signs that you've been hacked. That was what we talked about the week before. That was an interesting article that I found about how you can tell if you are being hacked and what you do about it, what you can do about it. And they talk about step by step what you can do. If you see one of these articles, if you find one of these in there, you can download a copy of it onto your computer and print it out. You can save it. You can share it with your friends. You know, hey, look at this interesting article that I found. So I try to make this stuff available via the Google Drive page. I want to give a shout out to the other free learning opportunities here. Larry's wonderful open forum computing classes. I know Larry does the same thing. He entertains your questions and he tries to answer them. And he also comes in, I think, with an idea in the back of his mind about what he'd like to talk about during his forums, but he is always open to questions, because at the time that you're asking the question is the time when you're really ready to hear the answer. In teaching, they call that the teachable moment. So I want to shout out Larry's open forums. And the other one that a lot of people don't take advantage of, I think, is the public library. And I'm always shouting out the public library. Kitsap Regional Library has all kinds of things besides books. This is the section in research, under research, all these different websites. And all you have to have is a library card to be able to use this. So there's genealogy, there's, my God here, grants, the Chilton Library. I love the Chilton Library. I needed to find a wiring diagram for my 1995 Honda Civic because we needed to repair something that had to do with the back lights in the back of the car. And I didn't want to spend the money on a Chilton guide just for that. So I was able to go to the library and open up the Chilton guide and find that wiring diagram for my 1995 Honda. But all different kinds of wonderful stuff in here. A lot of family search. The public library has been subscribing to some of these genealogy websites. Some of this stuff you have to go to the library to use, but a lot of this stuff is available online. The Kitsap Sun, you can read it for free online. You don't have to subscribe to it if you don't want to. All kinds of things. And I would be willing to bet dollars to donuts. There's a lot of folks that go to the public library to check books out, which is a wonderful thing to do. I totally believe in checking out books, but are completely unaware of the fact that the library provides all of these additional resources. I know in my Zoom classes, we've also talked about audiobooks and ebooks and magazines, the ability to be able to read magazines. The library subscribes to dozens and dozens and dozens of magazines. I'd best sign in here, but you can read a lot of your favorite magazines right here online. Yep, see, I have my number already saved on my computer so that I can get in, but you can find different subjects. See what we got here. Here are the subjects at 3,773 different magazines that are available through the public library. All different kinds of things that you might be interested in reading, all for free, all online. One of the things that I have discovered is that I can print things out. So if I find a knitting magazine, so here's the ones that they have, and I open up this magazine, I borrow it, I can flip through the pages. Yep, I'm going to read it now in my browser. And I can copy a pattern. If I find a pattern in there that I want to knit, I can copy that pattern. I can print it out. For online newspapers and stuff like that. One of the things that we talk about in my class is how to capture information like this. So we talk about using the magic snipping tool. I have my little snippy tool here down at the bottom of my screen. And if I want to grab a picture of something I'm seeing on the screen, I can use the snipping tool to grab a picture of that to illustrate for someone else or to save in the copy of the pattern for that knitting piece that I'm looking at. And we walk through step by step how to use the snipping tool. So I really want to shout out the other free learning opportunities that there are on there, both the ones provided by KCS and the ones out in the community. You can even sign up for a library card online. You don't even have to go down to the library to get your library card so that you can start using those materials online. So I want to again extend an invitation to all of you to join us on Friday mornings via Zoom. Yes, there it is. You can even come in your bunny slippers. This is the link that I send out for my beginning computer Zoom class. It starts at 10:30 every Friday morning. And if you are familiar with Zoom, it really, the only part that you need is this number at the bottom, 998-312-13072. And you can open up Zoom online and click join a meeting and type in that number. That's the meeting number. It's the same number every week. And join us on Friday mornings. And I will stop my share. So, and Karen, I just haven't seen you in ages. It's so nice to see your smile. I'm seeing a few people here today that I haven't seen for a long, long time that may have come to my classes in the past when I used to teach face-to-face. Warren, I haven't seen for a while. Yeah, it's good to see both of you. And then some new faces that I've never seen before. Carolyn Fraser, I'm not familiar with. And Bob Edwards, I know online, but I don't think I've ever seen him in class. So anyway, I want to encourage you to take advantage of all the free training that's out there. Not only our Friday morning Zooms, go out and explore some of those links. Again, the PowerPoint with all those clickable links in it is available on the website and let me see if I can pull up that. I know I can, and I can put it in the chat too. Here is the link, and I will put it in the chat for today. This is link to handouts. There you go. There's the link to my handouts. So if you guys click that link right now and then bookmark it, you'll be able to go back to that page whenever you want. And again, feel free to download those handouts and print them out. And I think it's Myra has a binder that she prints out all this stuff and she keeps it in the binder. So she's basically creating for herself her own how-to manual that she can go back and consult whenever she wants. So questions? Any questions out there? Yes, Larry. I can't hear you, Larry. Hold on just a minute. That might be me. Okay, try that again. Nope, still can't hear you. Cannot hear you, Larry. Nope, your lips are moving. No. No? Do you want to text it? Okay, Larry is texting, I think, maybe. Sending a message to us in chat.
It looks like he's muted.
He is muted now, but he's unmuted a couple of times as well.
I noticed that.
And I know I got an announcement in the middle of my presentation that my internet connection was unstable. This, and you will have heard me say this before, this is the reason why we all need to press our elected representatives to do whatever they can do to get better, stronger broadband for all of us. We're all connected now via the network, and it's more important than ever that we collectively as a country invest in our broadband infrastructure so that we can all stay connected. So I'm waiting for Larry. Oh, there we go. What did you use to secure your computer while traveling? How do you mean? In when I'm using wireless in other strange places? I didn't use anything special. I use on my laptop when I travel, or on my phone when I travel. I mostly, if I connect to the wireless in a youth hostel or something like that in Tokyo, I am just very careful about what websites I visit, and I don't do any banking while I'm traveling. I don't do anything sensitive, and I don't click any links from anybody that I don't know who they are, where they came from. And we talk about that. That's true. I didn't talk about any of that in my presentation about talking about security, but security is a biggie. Absolutely. Generally, I travel with a tablet computer so that I can pull up Google Maps, so that I can figure out where I'm going, and my cell phone. Other questions? That's it. You all know everything you need to know?
Mhm.
I'm going to see you in class on Friday. No, Lorraine, you're shaking your head no. Unmute. I can't hear you, Lorraine.
I was just saying, I don't know everything.
None of us know everything. There's absolutely no way to know everything. But the key is to know that you don't know everything and know how to go about finding the answers. Know to go, that's the thing that I love about KCS, is the ability to, talk to each other and share information. I have learned such cool stuff from Larry. Larry shared more interesting tips and tricks, and Al sends me things when he comes across an interesting article on something, and I'll hit forward and send it to everybody that's on my email list. So if we all share this information, collectively, we're a bigger brain than we are all by ourselves. That, I think, is the most important thing.
So if someone wants to get on your email list, do you have a link you want to put on chat to?
Send me an email here. Send me email here to get.
We are also putting it on the Kids app, or our newsletter as well.
Oh, there you go. It's in the newsletter.
Yes.
Okay. There's my email, maconfar@hotmail. I'll add you to the email list, and you'll get an email blast once a week, with the link in it. And I usually try to send it out on Thursday, either Thursday evening or Friday morning, so that it's close to the top of the inbox. It's the same link every week, and some people save the link and just use the link over and over again. But I try to send out the email on Thursday afternoons or Friday mornings, so that it's right at the top of your inbox in your email, so it's easy to find. Absolutely. Other questions? Okay, Ed, I'm going to hand it back over to you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I've been listening, and I know that there's a lot out there that people can offer to others. And I've been an instructor for AARP Safe Driving for over 20 years. And at this point, we are into restructure and retraining of all of the instructors. I'm going to offer some information. I'll try to get it to Larry. Maybe we can include it in the newsletter coming out. But there's a lot of help online that can give people assistance, let's put it that way, on how to cope with the traffic that's out there right now. And as an instructor, I find the in-person is so much more beneficial than online, or even with this type of an arrangement, we could benefit quite a bit. But we will not be trained, the trainers will not be trained until the end of December. Well, consequently, I can't do any scheduling, nor any of the other instructors in the area. We can't schedule anything until January 22. But we are preparing for that, and I've had several people contacting me saying, when can we go to another class? What I will provide for the newsletter, Larry, I'm going to try to get that information to you to give people an opportunity to review the videos that are passed right now. So since you're all into the computers, this is another area that you can learn from on how to cope with the people that are not tailgating anymore, they're pushing. And I'm telling you that I've been driving since I was 11 years old. Got my driver's license at 13 in Montana. And I feel like I'm just starting to drive when I get out there today. And every day you would think that I would be more comfortable with traffic. No way. I am uncomfortable from the minute I start the car. And I'm sure that a lot of you, when you are out, that you're finding quite a difference in the driving that's going on. And one of them that I'm going to say is that everybody, number one, is aggressive. They don't care about you. They're driving twice as fast as they were before. I think because they have been contained. That would be a word anyway. They've been restricted to doing life as we know it as normal, or did have a normal life. So I'm going to insert that as a benefit to everybody that's on board today, and you can pass it on to your friends. Then, because I'm getting a lot of calls on when can I go to another class. Primarily, the class for everybody is beneficial. It's 8 hours, 4 hours on one day, 4 hours the next. I try to get into the senior center on East Bremerton, but it's limited. They only have about 12 and they can't put any more into that room. I do have a good venue here in Port Orchard at the Eagles downstairs, so it's good for handicap, and just walk in and we can have 40, but I like a class around 15 to 20, and that way we can communicate, because it's like we have right now, opportunity for others to insert questions or whatever it might be. I also try to bring in the state patrol on the second day for people to ask questions before they're pulled over for one reason or another. But it's good to have that interaction with the state patrol. So I'll be looking at that to try to bring that into the instructors do have the opportunity to monitor to create a class beyond what's already required in the scheduling. So I did want to insert that for you folks, because we need to survive this new driving situation. Thanks, Marianne. I wanted to put that out to everybody, and I'm sure others have things or thoughts. If you have an additional question regarding the safe driving course, well, just email me and I'll keep you informed as we move along in our training. But they revised the course, and now the price is up like everything else. $20 for the ARP members and $25 for non. But it's valuable, and you can then get a certificate from the instructors. That's always a requirement. We make no money. We're strictly volunteer. They pay for gas if we got a long trip to do the class. 4 hours one day, for the next. And our insurance companies will give you a break depending on the insurance company. But I make it clear that if you come to the class, you're going to benefit financially. That's all I have. And back to Mary for any additional questions. We're doing a great job here. We got another 10 minutes if you like to use it. Go ahead.
I have a question, Marianne. Do you see any benefit to paying for YouTube's the premium?
If they have something on their premium channel that I want to watch, it's like, I didn't subscribe to Disney Plus until they offered Hamilton a year ago on the 3rd of July, and it was $6.99 a month. I signed up in a hot New York minute and lined up my family on the couch on July 3rd and made them watch Hamilton because I really wanted to see it. So, some of these subscription series, and we talk about this on the Zoom. It's like, I'm a big fan of Outlander, and that's on Stars. That's a streaming service. And so whenever a new season of Outlander comes out, that's got 8 episodes, so it's going to last for 8 weeks, I will subscribe to that streaming service for the 8 weeks that the show is running and watch it. And then I will unsubscribe. I don't have to have it all the time forever and ever. If it turns out that there's something else on that service, and the same thing would be for YouTube, if there's some movie or collection of movies that I want to watch and I'm going to have time to watch them, absolutely, go ahead and sign up for it. But one of the nice things that you can do nowadays with these streaming opportunities is you can dip in and out. It's not like getting locked into a package with Comcast, that you can't get out of for a whole year. You can sign up long enough to watch whatever it is you want, and then you can unsign. And the other thing that I've noticed is that a lot of things are available on more than one platform.
She's frozen.
We just lost you, Marianne.
Yeah, we lost you.
Yep, I can hear you. Okay, am I back now? You're moving around again.
Yeah.
I will Google, how to watch Casablanca. And generally speaking, I'll get a list of these are the different services where you can watch it, and you can pick and choose which one you want to watch it on. The other thing to think about too, depending on what it is that you want to watch, is it movies that you're thinking of, Lorraine?
No, I watch sometimes quilting.
Oh yeah, those
videos.
are wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, and they all have ads, and it says on the down in the question, do you want to subscribe to the premium? And if it's just to remove the ads, no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we all grew up when whenever our families first got their televisions, we always had ads. We're so used to tuning out the ads anyway, that we are perfectly capable of watching something without ads. So yeah, you kind of weigh, what is it worth to me? Is it just because I want to watch it without ads? Am I willing to pay whatever the price is, or am I willing to watch it with the ads? Absolutely. Yeah, and it all comes down to price. What am I willing to pay for this thing? The other thing to think about too, of course, again, another plug for the library, is whenever something comes out, I see a book in the store that I want to read, one of the first things I'll do is whip out my phone and see if the library has it. I can check it out for free. Video, same thing. And not only that, but if the library doesn't have it, they can sometimes borrow it for you from another library. So if there was a whole video series on a particular quilting method, like using a long arm quilter or something like that, that you wanted to watch, don't discount the possibility of asking the library if they can borrow it for you on DVD from some other library, because it may be out in that format as well. It's just that it takes a little bit more effort, because you kind of have to hunt around to figure out where that particular thing that you want to see is living.
Which reminds me about the KRL genealogy. It's the center, which I volunteer in the center. It's closed until whenever this gets resolved.
Well,
so we're on hold with regard to that.
Is this with live people helping you?
Yes, we volunteer in the Genie Center, and it's locked up now. So I think Elizabeth might go in and get a book, but help me out here. Somebody else who volunteers. There are a lot of those books you can't check out. You can only look at them there.
Well, I know Jose said that the public library was subscribing to Ancestry.com on behalf of library patrons. So you could use Ancestry through the library website without having to pay for it. So at least you could do that part.
Yeah, it's the basic version, but yes, that's true.
Right. But the genealogy folks, the genealogy volunteers at the library is another one of those examples of free training, that people need to take advantage of. We need to look around and see what's out there for free and think about what it is that we know how to do, that we can offer to teach too. Ed is a ham radio guy. He could teach folks how to use ham radio, I believe, right, Ed? Yeah, if he wanted to, he could offer classes online on how to use his ham radio. I learned how to change the oil in my scooter by watching a YouTube video. So there's a, you know, if we have information that we can share in the same way that we should be interested in consuming information that we can get for free, we need to think about how to put back. You know, if there's something that we know how to do, we ought to consider, you know, figuring out how to share that with the rest of the world. You don't want to, you know, just hold all that information to yourself. It's information wants to be free as far as I'm concerned. It wants to be out there and having people take advantage of it.
Any other questions for Mary Ann? I think this has been a fantastic, enlightening for me anyway. You're talking about genealogy. My wife was quite involved in the center there, or the office at the library at Sullivan. Anyway, we all have some information we can pass on, and let's try to do that. Looking forward to the Fridays when I can get there, because I look like the door is open. Like many of you, I feel like I'm on first grade, and a lot of the information that's available is just at a fingertips. And thanks to Larry and Mary Ann, they've really kept us going during this pandemic, and I'm hoping we can get over it. But in the meantime, we're very fortunate to have the Zoom opportunity to share and to learn. Any other questions for Mary Ann before we wrap this up? And we will have a trustees meeting after this. We'll have a short break, but last words, anybody want to raise your hand and question to Mary Ann, please? Yes. Glad to see you. Go ahead.
Am I on mute? Yeah. I still didn't get your link, Mary Ann, of how to ask for the link to your handouts, or
Karen, do you have chat opened on Zoom? Down at
No.
the bottom of your Zoom window, are you on your iPad or are you on a computer?
No, I'm on PC.
Oh, okay. Down at the bottom of the Zoom window, if you move your mouse down and
Yeah.
touch the bottom of the Zoom window, there should be a button there that says chat.
Yes.
And if you
Okay.
click on chat,
Yeah.
you'll get over on the right-hand side, you'll see all of our chat conversations.
Okay.
So
Oh,
if you scroll up to the top of the chat, I think the first one, at least that I put in there, was a link to the handouts. Is that the one you're looking for?
yes, ma'am.
And if you click on that right now, it will launch your browser to that page, and then you can bookmark that.
I'll do that.
Yeah, you get back to it.
I'll see you Fridays. Carol has kindly sent me links before and encouraged me to come to your classes, but I just never quite managed. But
It's finding the time. Trust me. It's
yeah,
finding the
I
time.
have
Yeah.
the time. It's finding the energy, and Warren would tell you.
It's one of the other, you know, added benefits, and I didn't even talk about this in my presentation, but again, one of the added benefits of the Friday get together is it's just social.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, because we've all been shut up at home for the most part, you know, and we've only seen people in masks at the grocery store and the doctor's office. And so it's really nice to see people without masks on, you know, and you know, just be able to kind of chit chat and be social as well. So that is, as the classes, the Friday get-togethers, I like to think of it as get-togethers, are every bit as good for that as anything else. I think that it's a pretext is learning how to use the computer. That's just the pretext to get the conversation going. But you know, we talk about all different kinds of stuff in there. Okay, Ed, it's all yours.
Okay, well, it looks like we're going to wrap it up. Let's give her a big hand, folks. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we'll be in touch with you, and we'll certainly get into the Fridays. I think we can all learn more every day. Give it an opportunity. We're going to take a break right now, and we'll get back in about 5 minutes.
Thank you, everybody.
And anybody that would like to hang in there and offer suggestions for us, we welcome you. So we're going into a short break, and Mary Ann says goodbye for now. And we'll take a little break, and we'll be back for a trustees meeting shortly. So trustees, you can
Thank you,
take
Mary Ann.
5 minutes off. Back in about 5. Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Oops, leave meeting.
Good morning. How you doing today? All right.
Great. Great.
I
How are
thought
you?
we had a very good meeting. What do you think?
Oh, I thought it was great.
We certainly learn a lot, and Mary Ann is just so receptive to anything. I'm really impressed with her professionalism and her willingness to help. Those
Yeah.
are so great. We're fortunate. Hi, Myra, you can come on in and mute yourself if you like, and we'll just let you sit in here. We're glad to see you.
You know, I use YouTube, but not to that extent.
Oh,
And I had never even thought about using it to that extent. So
no,
that was interesting to me.
that's something brand new to me. I'm lucky to even get the computer on and check my emails. And I do a lot of creating too and writing, because I'll be working on my letter for the newsletter today. I try to do that right away so I don't have to worry about it. It's there and Larry can work with it, you know. But it's one task that I must do, so I know that I need to get on to it right away.
Mhm.
Being attentive. Myra, how are you doing?
Okay,
Good. Okay, good to see you.
good as,
Right.
good as expected.
You been on any cruises or anything since you retired?
No.
You know, this pandemic has really created problems for everybody. Yeah.
I haven't traveled in since the beginning. Gee, I'm losing track of time. What was the beginning of 2020? Yeah. Yeah.
We were
Um,
fortunate to draw our drive. You know, you use a mask where you need to. Restaurants are very limited, but
yes. Yes.
the trip was out for a month, and we saw a lot of people. I had a memorial for my sister. I lost her in November, but the memorial was August 21st. And then we made a big circle, 13 states and 5,600 miles plus. But we were able to survive that and cope with the lack of restaurants available and so forth. But you just have to try to get out and do what you can and be smart about it.
Yeah. Sorry to hear about your sister.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, she was 2 days from her 92nd, so she had a good life, but she had a problem with her heart, a leaky heart, the doctor said, and she'd given up. Really.
We
Good to
just
see you,
took a
Al.
short vacation. We just took a short vacation.
Yeah, and we're dealing with other things too. I guess you all know, or if you don't know, I don't have an input, but June Jones had to retire, resign as a trustee, and then she related to Jim because she couldn't help him now with the New Horizons, that she has cancer. Well, she had surgery last Wednesday. I haven't touched with her, but I intend to give her a call. She may still be in the hospital. I don't know, but we'll see. And I'll send her a card on behalf of the KCS membership. But you never know when things are going to crop up. And so take one day at a time and do what we can to keep in communication and support.
Good to see Pat back.
I'm looking at everybody on board. I got Carol. You can mute yourself if you like. And there's Pat. Welcome to you. And you can mute yourself and insert your comments as we move along in the meeting here. I have a few items that I'd like to address, and then I will welcome some reports too.
I have to leave right at 12 today, Ed.
Yeah, okay. And then Jim Bromley, if you will, mute yourself. And then we'll be all set there. And we have Lori. I'm glad to have you on board with us, and your comments will be welcomed. Can you hear me, Lori? She's listening anyway. All right. Well, and Bob is still out there. You can mute yourself and insert any comments as we move along too. We appreciate any guidance that anybody would like to give us. But for for my agenda today, I want to welcome everyone, and I'll start with Jim. Give us, Bromley, give us an input, update on how New Horizons is doing at this point.
I'm going to be working with Birmingham Housing Authority again. One of their senior apartments, the one down on in Manette off of 11th and Perry Avenue, Casa del something or other, Casa del Sol, I think is the name of it. Hopefully we'll be able to get some desktops into their community room, so that they could start teaching classes over there. Other than that, not too much going on with New Horizons. I'm continuing to get donations. Haven't had any individuals requesting a computer for quite some time now. With the loss of June, I think I'm probably just going to be working directly with organizations and letting them do their own vetting of clients, and just, you know, just run the program that way. So nothing else going on with New Horizons.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, what was the gentleman's name from last month who was going to help you? We had somebody from the Navy. He retired from the Navy. I don't have my minutes with me right now.
I think I know who you're talking about. I've got his email. I have not contacted him yet.
Okay.
I did ask Jim's assistance, and for one of our long-term members, Barbara, right? And Jim will be getting with her this week to try to assist her. She was identified herself as a shut-in, and she has a computer problem. So we want to make sure, and I'll get that out in my letter to any member that needs some fine tuning, that we can see if maybe Larry or Jim or someone can come to their aid. And it might be just a phone call, but whatever is possible, we can help each other in that manner. Well, periodically, we do have some difficulties with our computer. It just won't work.
What was her last name again?
The last name is, I got the list. It's WHIT. It's right at the end of our membership. Al, what's her name? You got the roster right there?
I don't have it up right now.
I sent the email to, and I don't have it in front of me.
I'll find it if it's in the membership list.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, it's Barbara, WH. Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, I don't have it right here, but I got an email, and
I can see Carol coming to the rescue here.
Barbara Wilhite.
Wilhite. Oh,
Wilhite, yeah. Anyway, she indicated she's a shut-in, has problems with her computer, and Jim said he'd make her contact this week, right, Jim? Yeah, and see if she can't. Maybe he can do it on the phone. If not, then he can maybe work out, try to make a visit there and get that taken care of. That's what.
Good job, Carol. You beat me to it.
Okay. We did have a need at one time for some of our computers, and Jim was going to communicate with the First Christian Church for that storage, but apparently, did that go away at this time, Jim? You didn't need it?
Well, I haven't gotten around to it.
Well,
No, I mean,
if there's a need, then let us know, and I have a truck, so I can help you.
okay.
Yeah, sure. So anytime, communicate with us, because there is an opportunity for at least storage. If the internet, they're still having problems trying to get it in there. It would be nice if we could get in there and follow through with what we originally had wanted to do for New Horizons. But we'll see how that works out. But for now, if you wish to move any of that equipment, you had several that you had to turn down, I guess, from Paulsville. I think you did anyway. but maybe some in your garage, you can move them out too and give you a little more room. One other thing, as far as the New Horizons, I'm just talking here. I would think that anybody that has a desire to assist Jim on the interview for, if you know of somebody, an individual or a family that would like some assistance in communicating with others and get a computer into their life. We do have some laptops. Go ahead, Al.
Hey, Jim, was June interviewing people over Zoom, or was she going into the home and interviewing?
I think she was doing it personally.
Thank you.
Zoom.
For now, we have a problem trying to be, in person with any interview. But if you
Right.
have a desire to assist, I, for one, would be most happy to talk to anybody and get a little background as to whether or not it would fall into the category of help by KCS and offering them a laptop. Why not? That's what we're here for, to bring more people into the circle and to assist those in need, whether it be an individual or a family. But anyway, I think the more we can look into assisting the New Horizon program, the better off we're going to be. Because that seems to me to be where we can really benefit and expand our membership too at the same time. Okay. Going on then, I'm going to ask for a little report here from Al on membership and investments.
Membership, we have 107 members. I have sent out requests for people to submit their dues. There's several people that are past due, and I've been taking on a policy of when people are more than a year past due, I send them like a note that will terminate the membership. But I also say they can join, at any time. It just sometimes it's just very inconvenient for people to operate over Zoom, and they would much rather be in person. But so I tell them, so I don't have to keep reminding them that they can rejoin. I was very encouraged by our newest member, James Host. He sounds very energized and interested in helping our organization out. And I saw him even kind of perk up when I was giving the website committee report. So he seems very knowledgeable in the mechanics of website mechanics of that. So I'm just encouraged by that.
I think that's the name I was looking for. James Host, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. A little side bit of business. I updated the placard for the past presidents. I have that done. We had 4 attendees at the last investor discussion group. We had a very, very good discussion on several websites for screening individual stocks. And we talked about looking at mutual fund screens and earnings, exchange traded fund screens. That was fun. It was, not the best attendance, but at least I wasn't talking to myself. So that was good. It's nice to have people participate in our discussion groups. And I know Larry and Mary Ann like to have people contribute and participate. That's what it's all about. That's how we learn new things, and sometimes it's good to get stumped with a question an attendee has, and we have to do some research and get back to them. with that, that is all that I have in my reports. Thank you.
Regarding, thank you very much for the reports. And I got to thinking about the website. Number one, James Hostin, is it?
Host.
Pardon me? Host.
Host.
He will be the speaker at our November 15th meeting. And he's very motivated to be involved with KCS. And so we're going to learn a lot about him. And I'm thinking, Al, you might consider inviting him to be a part of your website assistance group, I guess you'd call it. You're with Doug right now. And who else is on that team?
Jim Bromley.
Jim Bromley.
Yeah, Jim. Okay. So maybe he can also slip in there and give any additional advice. And then updating the website is essential right now, you know, then it's going to be step by step. I know what you're going to be doing. I haven't gone to it of recent, but I know that we have to make some changes, and you're knowledgeable of that as well. I just thought I'd make that insert for, you might invite him to be a listener or invite him to be a team member.
So noted.
In the training. Did you do that already?
No.
Oh,
I noted it.
As far as the training, is that ongoing, or where are we with the website?
We've had, as I said last time, we've had 3 hours of training, and there's 2 hours remaining on the 5 of the 5 that we requested, and we're holding off any further training at this point in time.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
My next item on the agenda is speakers. Boy, we've had to do a whole lot of shuffling, or I have, to try to make sure that we had a speaker for today and also for next month. We normally don't meet in December. If you wish to meet, then let me know, but I'm looking at January, and I haven't, but will talk to Don Lawrence regarding the taxes, and he always gives us an update on the tax and the filling of the requirements for filing. And so I'm hoping he'll say yes again.
Pardon me,
Ed. Speaker for February and March. And since we're talking speaker, I would like to see a committee for speaking. Yes, Al.
I'd like to ask you to back up just a little bit. I think I heard you say we normally don't meet in December. I thought we normally did. I just like to clarify that. Are we not going to meet this December?
We didn't last because of the virus, and we didn't on the in-person, and so we decided we wouldn't have it last year. I don't know whether you wish to meet this year or not. If we do we want to have a speaker or not? And what would be the agenda for that meeting?
I'm fine without. I'm fine myself. I'm fine not having a meeting in December.
You're not in favor, or are?
I'm okay with not having a meeting
Yeah.
in December myself.
Yeah, the thought was that it's pretty much of a family thing, and with the restrictions we have right now, it'd be great if we had it in person. We could have a potluck and, you know, a short meeting. We wouldn't have to have a speaker, or we could have
Santa Claus.
Yeah. Back to speakers, folks. I really need a committee to get on with the speaker idea and get them committed at least 3 or 4 meetings in advance, so we wouldn't have to play checkers here to try to find out who's going to make it and who won't, and so forth. And we can always do shuffles, but the shuffle has to happen before we get the newsletter out. so we can get the word out to everybody of who's going to be speaking. I've pretty well gone through the list that I got from Ruth some time back. And it takes a little time to, first of all, establish who you wish to speak to, who will commit to that, because it is a commitment and a lot of people are working. So I'd like to see a committee established as soon as possible and focusing on, I'll take Dawn for January. I think he'll set up that one up. But we'll need somebody for February and March. And from that point on, of course, it would be the new board responsibility to see if there was a committee that wished to follow through with the meetings beyond March, where we would have a changing of the guard, so to speak. But one person or two people just can't function that way. We need to have more people step up and research whether or not we want to have a speaker or not. That brings me up to this next subject, and it sort of incorporates this. Many years ago, it seems like, no, it was about 2 or 3 years ago, I had created a proposed change to the bylaws, which I have in front of me. And it has a lot to do with speakers as well. General membership meeting is normally a benefit to everybody in that we have a speaker. And people weigh the situation as to whether or not they want to come on board for the Zoom now, but later would be in person, as to whether or not they want to attend. As you can see, we had a great attendance today. I was very happy with that. And we had 20, I counted them out. And normally we would have about somewhere around 30, which is great in person when we were there at Debo. I don't know if we'll get back to that number or not, but although the 107, that's not many percentage wise to go through the process of contacting and scheduling a person to be a speaker. In my proposed change to the bylaws, and this is not me, it's us I'm talking about, we have certain things we need to do as trustees of the board as far as business is concerned. It starts, if you wanted to start with January, you could, but even at December, I wouldn't, even if we don't have a meeting in December, then the nominating committee would be appointed by the president. And they have the time then in January to go through and talk to members to consider being a trustee. And then in March, or February, they would give their report. And in March, then the membership would vote them in. That's the procedure for nominating committee. When we get into the same thing, your president likes to work a little earlier. So I've in the past here felt a necessity to have the budget committee to be selected and volunteered to work during the month of January, early February, and give a report in February of the financial review and the proposed budget. So those are two very meaningful things that go on in December for me, but for the president. But then January is a meeting that's necessary for taxes and for anybody that wants to give a status quo of the nominating committee. And the budget committee has time to work on our financial. And Larry has been very helpful as a financial advisor. And in the past, I've requested that he be the advisor for that committee. And then we have at least three persons that doesn't have to be a trustee to act on that committee. So anyway, then we have committees working. March then is when we have the election of officers after the election of new trustees and the general membership meeting. So in the trustees meeting, then we have the voting for the new board. There are some people that are on the last lap of their trustee duties, and that you can only be on for 6 consecutive 2-year periods. And then you must go off as a trustee for at least a year. Jim Bromley and I will go off probably in 23. I'm not sure. I'll have to research this and get back to you next month on that as to who's going to be going. But we have at least 22 to 23 that we can function as trustees to guide the membership. But anyway, we're looking at to try to put this all into a summary now. We're looking at general membership meetings that must happen, and then some that could happen. And included in the general membership meetings, we have speakers, which is beneficial too, because if you didn't have a speaker, you don't really have much going on in the general membership meeting, period. That's it. So if we meet in January, February, March, the new board would have to at least establish some kind of a plan for that particular year, going from March till the next year in March. So they would need to meet, and a general membership meeting would have to be probably in April. So they would have to have a speaker already set up in March for that April meeting. So now we got January, February, March, and April. We've got most of the business done for the organization. I'm getting down to the point of commitment and time commitment for trustees, and we're all in this together. For those meetings, then we have the general membership meeting, which we should be attending, and then the trustees meeting. So then you have 4 meetings right there that you committed to. And so you've got 2, 4, 6, 8 hours of commitment in that term. Question would be whether or not you'd want to have a meeting in May or June, and that would be the decision of the new board. Probably yes, maybe one. Going into the next part of this working year, we have September, because we don't do anything in July and August. September is very important, bring everybody in. And we're hoping that we'll have an in-person and Zoom meeting by then, if not before. So September would be very important. October would also be important. November, maybe not, and maybe yes. And December, again, like we've talked now, is family. So we might back that off. So, okay, we look at the year now, and we should look at it from January, even though March is when it all starts. January, February, March, and April, yes. Probably, I would say that might be adequate. Then we take a look at September and October. Now you've got 7. No, you've got 6. My suggestion is to at least go to 5. Right now, we're trying to do it every month. We've pretty much eliminated December. but we don't do anything in July and August. So now we have January, February, March, April, May. So we got 5. Then we go into September, October, November. Now we got 8. Do we need 8? That's a question I have to you. Do we need 8? Or can we manage with 7? The reason I'm bringing this up to you is that I had a proposal, and I will share this and send this out to you again for your review between now and next meeting. Think about it. It's nothing we have to make a change on at this point. But think about the commitment that we ask for people that come on board as trustees. It's a job, it's a commitment. It doesn't take a lot of time, but then again, if you look at it and you say, okay, if we have 10 meetings, that's a lot of meetings. How about 7? Well, if you have 7 meetings and you also have the trustees meeting, you have general and separate. So now we're looking, I try to do it in an hour, each one. So if you have 7, you got 14 hours commitment in a year. People have other lives outside of KCS. We don't want to make it an obligation. We want to make it an opportunity to serve and support and give good ideas and try to have a good communication support throughout the organization. I'm thinking that we're missing the boat somewhere because of the numbers that come in on the general membership meeting. We had a great turnout today. I'm really happy about that. If we had an in-person, we may have had 30, but we don't know when that's going to happen. So all of this that I've given you right now is just for you to think about. Walk away and then write something down, and any suggestions you might have for the future. I'm going to give you the cover sheet of the proposed change to the bylaws. And if you have the bylaws, great. If you don't, I'll send them to you again. But we need to really look at that because we're looking at the future. And the future is going to be really quick because we have one more meeting and then we have a break. And then we're getting into January. So as your president, I'm concerned about the future and the fact that we've had a limited number of people on board as trustees. And we didn't see Dennis today. So you can see where we are. We've got, Pat took a break on this and she's still our advisor. And I look forward to any comments that might come out of this process. And next month, let's really focus on this and try to get some idea as to whether a change is necessary on what's written in the bylaws, or if we want to do some proposals similar to what I have or what I have indicated in here. And my thought was to get to 5, only 5 meetings a year. 10, okay, then you got not so much of a obligation, but more of an opportunity. And that's what it should be, as an opportunity for people to serve and support. With that, I want to quit with that idea. That was long, but I really wanted to get that information out because it's in my mind. And I really want to make sure that you feel, you know where I'm coming from. It's been a pretty tough time trying to keep members informed and to arrange for a speaker each meeting. And I'm so happy that I can take a little break now and know that November we have a speaker and probably January we will have. So I want to lift my shoulders and get your assistance to try to look at this realistically and decide when we're going to have members receiving the message from a speaker or not. And this will determine when we have a general membership meeting, really. And if we do have general membership meetings scheduled, then we need to have speakers scheduled in advance. I'm gonna let that go, but if there's any comments from anybody at this point, go ahead and make them. But let this be some kind of a research for each of you between now and next meeting. And we will really want to hear from all of you at that point. So I'm opening the door for anybody who wishes to speak on that subject.
Well, I, for one, thank you very much for your concern about the organization and your stewardship of it. And I think you're kind of heading in the right direction. I belong to a couple other organizations, and one of them is actually, in fact, talking about cutting down monthly meetings as well. We meet 12 months out of the year. So we're talking about trimming that down. So I think it's very realistic, and the speaker issue is always the big challenge. Two big challenges for our organization are, well, there's several, but speakers, fundraising, and attendance. And even before COVID, I've got to say, even before COVID, our numbers were dropping in attendance. We were in the mid 20s, 28, maybe 30 occasionally. So, but that's not saying people that are not attending are not getting benefits from our organization. It's very difficult to have people let me put it this way. It's very difficult to get people to respond from some of the surveys that we put out to see what they would like to have us do to change the format to more accommodate them. We've tried that. I'm sure we could try it again, but it's not very rewarding to us as a board when we go through and contact all the members and mostly don't get back responses from them. So that's a big challenge. For people to have buy-in, they really need to participate in what we're offering. And so that's kind of what I have to say about that. I really think you're hitting on some good ideas, Ed. It's very tough for people to step up into the president, vice president, the four main officer roles. And I think it's, part of that is a time commitment frees up. So having fewer meetings might help people step forward with a less of a commitment. And that's pretty much what I have to say. Thank you.
A comment that when I considered rejoining the board, if the virus travel, all of that would have been off, I would not have accepted, because in the late fall, winter time, I would have gone down south to do some traveling in the winter. And I'm just wondering how many of our membership do that. I mean, it would have been for me, and I would have said, no, I'm not able to do that. But that's just a question. I don't know.
That's a very good point, Lorraine. I think that's why I liked what I heard when I picked up on Ed saying that when we go back in person, we're going to try to do Zoom as well. I think that's a valid way to meet that arrangement for holding a meeting. And like you, I agree. Well, it's the same with my other group. My other group typically meets in person in Seattle, and I don't travel, south, not like a snowbird type thing, but I I dread sometimes driving in that Seattle traffic, especially in winter, snow and ice, etc. And so these meetings virtually have been very good for me, and I've taken part even more in some of those roles.
So additionally, I'm wondering, maybe what if we didn't have meetings in January, February, December, January, and February? And like picked up the spring to the fall, spring to whatever. I don't know. Just
well, I think
things out there.
Yes, I think what Ed pointed out, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, but you felt that January, February, March, and April were key months in setting up the structure of the organization for the new board. The
You're right. You're right.
Nominating committee, budgeting committee, etc.
Yep, you're right. And I think that if we got everything settled in January, February, and March, most people were not traveling south or anywhere, and for me either. When we would then regroup in September, if we had a meeting in September, that's number 5. If we went to October, there's number 6. That's not a big problem, because if and it would sound like Zoom would be an important part of the structure, we would still have in person, hopefully. Then as a trustee, Lorraine, you could function, say, for instance, then you went south September and October, you could still function as a trustee in the Zoom compartment. You wouldn't have to be in person. So this gives us some latitude too in serving and supporting the organization. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a thought on that too, Ed. As far as the meetings, we could do them in segments, like I think someone else has said anyway, January, February, March, April.
Yes.
Don't do May, June, July, and August. Meet again September, October, November, December. 8 months, but 4 would be consecutive, no meetings.
And I look at that as more realistic. I would say that probably December wouldn't be involved, and I don't even think about November really being involved. If we guide them in with the 4, the board would guide everybody in. The old board, if you wish, working in November or January, February, and into March, they've got 3 that they're involved in. If they're still involved and they're involved in April, and then they come back in September and October, I think that that's a structure that could be utilized, and everybody would feel good about that because they wouldn't feel an obligation they couldn't meet. Just an idea, and we can talk this out again next meeting. I think we ought to let these thoughts come out, think about it. And Pat, if you have any comments, you're welcome to step up there and mute yourself and give us any information that you might feel, since you've been on the board and took a break, and maybe you enjoy the break. How you doing? Okay?
I am doing very well. I would like to let everybody know that my cancer surgery went very well, and I am now cancer-free. Yeah, it's taking me a long time to get my energy back, much longer than I thought it would. But anyway, slow but sure. One thing that I would say about all you've just been talking about is, if this might be something that the new board should provide for the group and have their say in it. I agree with most everything that's been said. I'm wondering, after having talked with a lot of the members in the past, how many of them will continue to pay dues for the $20 a year if it's not provided for a full year. It's just one thing to give thought, and but it's really hard, like Al said, to get people to comment on what they do want. So I think it is fully up to the board to take the decision to decide what's going to happen for the future. Yet you just might consider, and I wonder about the new board and the new president. Not that we can see them ahead, who it's going to be, but what their concerns and feelings about this would be. Anyway, just a couple of comments, and it's really good to be discussing all of this, but I think it really has to be looked at very carefully. Big decisions for our group. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat, and I'm so glad that you have been over the hill and you're well. That's great. Thank you. Our prayers were answered.
Great
Myra,
hearing your
I'm
voice
gonna
again.
turn to you. Myra, are you there? You
I'm-
were on the board for some time, and do you have any comments on anything?
I agree with what Alan said. I think that's good. It's getting people to take responsibility. And that my ability to join in is not there. My energy level is just going down the tube. No.
Oh, you've supported us for many years, and we appreciate that dedication. Thank you. I'm going to turn to Jim, and then I'll get to Carol on this. Jim, unmute yourself there, and any comments you might have on this subject at this point.
Well, I suppose I'm discouraged by the fact that we don't have the participation in the organization. We don't have any feedback from members on what they would like us to be doing, providing to them. We don't have any feedback on if it's a class issue, what type of classes we should be offering that we're not currently doing. I put in a pitch for a class on phones. It would be dedicated to phones, since everybody's got one now, a smartphone or even an iPhone, and maybe that's a need that's out there, and that's why we're losing members. But I don't have a damn clue as to why we're losing members. Since we don't seem to have any feedback, and when people leave the organization, Al, are they telling you why they're leaving? Do we ask them why they're leaving when they decide they don't want to be a part of us anymore?
I try to figure that out, Jim. Many times people are saying that they just don't have any interest any longer. Some people say they definitely do not want to be on a Zoom meeting. Too much stuff to figure out. I try to point them in the direction of Mary Ann's class to encourage them, to take that class so that they can learn the basics of it. There's a lot of it is mainly no interest.
Yeah, I think Zoom is a big factor, because when we were meeting in person, we would get an average of about 30 people coming out every month. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, probably depending on on the speaker we have. And then when we went to Zoom, boom, now we have approximately 10 to 12% of our membership on Zoom. Okay, so Zoom, I think, is an obvious factor. We lost a lot of people in that transition. Okay. I think that the quicker we can get back to having actual in-person meetings again, the better off we're going to be. And we can offer a Zoom option. Of course, we'll have to purchase some equipment in order to do that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the members want. We don't know what the members want. We never hear anything from the members. The surveys have been iffy as far as the response goes from those. Do we have a bunch of people sitting out there paying dues every year and they're not doing anything? I mean, that wouldn't make any sense. I wouldn't pay a dime to an organization and then not participating in it in any way. It wouldn't make any sense for me to do that. Do we have any kind of a feel for how many people are participating in classes? Like Larry and Marianne. Larry, occasionally I'll sit in on one of his classes. He typically has about 6 or 8 people on Zoom for at least the ones that I've been in on. So I get a sense that we have a certain cadre of members that are paying us $20 a year, but they're not really doing anything at all. You get that sense? Does anybody get that sense? I mean, I do. Even when we were having meetings in person, we only had 30 people show up on average.
Let's go to
Jim?
Carolyn. I'd like to have Carolyn come in on this, and then I'll ask Carol next, okay?
Hey, Ed, pardon me, Pat was trying to insert a comment there. Can you let her comment go, please, first?
Go ahead, Pat.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment to Jim that we have a lot of old, young at heart, but older people who committed fully early on and through the years. And I believe I would probably be one of those that would continue to support the group, even though I couldn't be active. And they put a lot of time and energy into this, and they just don't want to see it fail. They want to support it. And that one way is paying the dues every year and perhaps touching in on the emails and just interest of what's going on. Anyway, we do have a lot of older members who are so fully dedicated that they will support it. Many of them have supported it until they're gone. So anyway, that's just a thought I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Well, I think it's a good idea to keep the meetings going. And I know it's really awkward for a whole lot of people to do the Zoom. And I feel that if it was in person, we'd have more people out. But we need to keep in contact with everybody, even if it's like some groups call it a buddy check. And I think this gives a chance when we're doing Zoom to have something every month so we know that everybody's okay and that everybody's around. This has become a real problem. I think we would do a lot better if we had in person. And I'm all for not doing a January, February meeting in person because of the weather around here. We never know what it's going to be. And we're all older and we don't want to end up somewhere other than at home. Because of the roads conditions and stuff. But I think we need to do more thinking about how and where, and I think we need to think about, like Jim just said, on the phone classes and on different types of classes are speakers to have during the time. That's
Okay, I've got Carol now, please. It's your turn.
Well, what I'm thinking is like Pat said, we have a lot of old, long time dedicated members, and they're dying off, or they're getting to the point where they don't have the energy. Maybe they can't see well enough anymore to use their computers. They don't have the interest. We're not getting new members, new younger members. And that's because we apparently don't have anything to offer them. And I don't know what it is that we could offer them to get new members. Jim.
Jim has a comment.
Well, probably part of that is that younger folks have grown up with this technology. Okay, it's just a matter, it's like, oh, we don't need to teach anybody anymore how to use a television set, for instance, because that technology has been around for 60 years. And people use technology, it's as a matter of course. I mean, think about it. People in the workforce now, even people that are retiring, my generation are retiring like crazy now. Okay. And, but they've been using computer in the workplace. They don't even really think about it. My granddaughter, who's just turned 12 years old last Saturday, she doesn't think anything about using a phone. For crying out loud, she's got a phone, and she doesn't even think about it. It's almost like she was born with it in her hand. And so maybe that's the thing. There are so many resources out there for people to, if there is something they want to learn, not quite up to speed on, oh, hey, I just got this new phone, and it's a little different than the last one I had. They can go online and pick up that little additional knowledge that they want. So maybe it boils down to we're just flat out not as relevant as we would have been in 1992, for instance. I mean, I've looked at I went into our newsletter archives, and I looked at what the membership was back in the day, twice the size that it is now. And there was a lot more going on in the organization too. They had all kinds of classes going on all the time. Okay. So maybe KCS is just losing its relevance over time.
I agree with everything that's been said. Welcome to Dennis. I see you. Can you hear me, Dennis? Hello, Dennis. BJ, I'm going to go to you, and Dennis can come on. BJ, do you have anything that you'd want to input here? I'd ask you to maybe connect with the college and see what we have there, and maybe some of their students could, two things that could happen. They could become members if they wanted to. We can all learn from each other. We've got a lot of people that are probably in class right now, and it goes over their head. And as a result of the our meeting today, we could introduce them to Mary Ann and also to Larry to supplement what they're getting in college. But we also could benefit from them on what they're receiving in the way of new material and guidance for iPhones and so forth. What do you think there? We could maybe get some speakers too. Your comments, please.
I know one or two people at OC who I could talk to. And so you're saying that my object would be to talk to these people and find out if some of the students are interested in joining KCS or visiting.
That would be one, yes, and we have Zoom available to them.
And
They're
okay.
computer wise, they might wanna just listen in and get a little information about who we are and what we have available to them that's
Okay.
outside their training that they're paying for at the college, but it might supplement their education at the same time. I'm thinking that I got some younger relatives that they talk things way over my head right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, then I will contact them and find out what they can do to help and get back with you at the next, with everyone at the next meeting.
Well, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
I should say also, I haven't really done anything the last 2 months because I've been busy chasing doctors and appointments. So
Yeah.
I haven't been too, too
Yeah.
visible, shall we say. Okay.
I've been listening to all of you and I realized something here. I think that our membership, even though we haven't really asked them initially why they become a member, what their desires are, what their goals are, what they intend to do in a way of supporting, like the New Horizons and maybe getting involved in refurbishing, interviewing, could be teaching or whatever it is. And I hope my wife will get that call. Anyway, I think they're talking to us already. We sent out there and Al's off at the moment, I see. But anyway, we've gone out and I tried to get an input as to what they're looking for. I think they're getting what they want. They're attending the open forum. They're also attending the Friday with Mary Ann. They're going out elsewhere for information and guidance. But like was said many times here, they are in support. Like Pat said, they're supporting this organization because they know that we're there to help others out there, whether they're individuals or families or whatever, or groups, that we're there for them. And I don't think that we're going to lose members. We lose some. Every club has lost members for one way or another because of the virus. But I feel concerned when we lose the members, and I go through the membership a lot and make sure that, of course, I've got to pay my dues and make sure that I'm on board. But I think maybe we're meeting the needs of those that are on board right now, whether they're attending a general membership meeting or not. With that said, then I think that we can, as a guiding group, if you would, be more realistic on our scheduling, because it takes time and effort on our part to prepare for a general membership meeting. We need to be on board for speakers. Again, we're going to need a speaker since we're scheduled for February and March. I need that input as soon as possible. Please reach out. Let's get somebody scheduled as soon as possible so we can communicate on the newsletter of who's coming when. And I think that in itself is a good way to maybe find out if we have other members that are out there interested. And I always include this in my letter, or try to, that if you have anybody out there that you would like to have come in as a speaker, let me know, and then I will make that contact. And that's an open door. I'll take the time, but we need to work together. But as a guiding group, if you would, as trustees, we have responsibility, but we shouldn't go overboard on our time and efforts, because we're not getting paid. And we're only meeting a few people at this moment. and hopefully we'll meet more. But I think a lot has to do with the preparation of the meetings and how many. With that, I'm pretty much done with what I wish to say. Anything
Ed?
else on the agenda, and we'll wrap this up today.
I've got a question for you.
Yes.
What kind of speakers are you looking for?
Well,
Just on
that,
computers?
I'm saying that we need to get into the new phones and so forth. That's what people are working on right now. They're not into the computers.
Into
Any
computers?
electronics that is being used on a regular basis, a tablet, whatever it is. And I think Jim already touched on that. A lot of people are no longer into the computers at all.
And do they have to be a member of Kitsap County?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, because this was brought up, I brought this up at a Zoom meeting the other day about this group. And I said I'd find out because I'm sitting on a state, in another organization on the state board. And they were really surprised when I made the comment that this group met and they discussed on how to work and how to use computers and phone, electronic stuff. And some of these gals are quite interested, and they're over in Eastern Washington up in the hills that have really bad connections and out on the coastline. And I've had to learn the hard way on a whole lot of this Zoom stuff the last month and a half on how to connect to meetings on the East Coast and around. And it's difficult. And I'm dumb when it comes to the computer altogether, because I'd love to get into a class where I could go and, learn more about how to do different things on it. If it wasn't for Bob redoing my emails and stuff, I'd be lost completely on doing my paperwork. I mean, it's something what's out there, what needs to be done in a bigger, broader area than just a little group. Because there's a lot of people who don't understand the computer and how to do the different things on it.
And I think that we do a good job with our website and with the newsletter, and we provide information. And just the fact that we, like for instance, on Marianne, that's an open on Friday,
Right.
and people that are knowledgeable of that capability, that free information that they can use on the ground floor for computers, why not? If we can just give them that insert and opportunity, who knows? We'll get members as a result of that. But I think a lot of it is in our website and in our newsletter. But like Don, let's see, who was it? Anyway, someone had said, make this meaningful, but electronics. When you have a speaker, anything that has reference to an electronic mechanism, then bring them in, because we get sold on computers a lot. I do. I spend a lot of it. I don't get into my phone. No, my phone is just for communication. For my daughter, she lives with it, but she does everything with it. I don't want to do that. I want a life. So everybody has their own interests and desires and what they want to do with the electronics. Yeah. Any other comments? We had, he left us. Yeah. Okay. Al, I think, is gone. Go
And
ahead.
I'm planning on I have a meeting coming up later on in the month, and I'm planning on letting these people here in Kitsap know about Jim's program for the computers, for the kids and stuff. So.
Good. Any other comments? Lorraine, you have anything else today? Carol? Jim? BJ? Anyone?
I was thinking, Ed, speaking to getting the word out to our older members who are here in this area, could we tell them to just tell them how to sign on to Marianne's class, maybe if they're interested, or offering a free Zoom, a small Zoom class for them, just for them, so they can learn how to use Zoom, because some people do need personal, training to get started.
Can I answer that?
Go ahead. Go ahead,
Um,
Carol.
BJ, Marianne's class is not a KCS class. It's a public class.
Right, no,
So yeah, give it to anybody that will listen.
right, but I'm speaking mainly of helping the older people in case who are already members of KCS and maybe are not interested. Maybe they just need somebody to offer to do a one-on-one maybe lesson with them for 15 minutes or so, just to get them started with Zoom, if they're real, and that might be all they need.
I would offer to do that. Dennis has offered to do that also. Larry has offered to do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay then.
And I thought that our newsletters were going to have her information every month and Larry's information every month for a while. And I think that's good. Repeat, repeat, repeat.
You're right. You're right. That's what's going to happen. It has happened. Yeah, Jim, you had something?
Yeah, I think we got sort of a catch-22 here. And that is that in order to participate on Zoom, you have to have a certain level of computer knowledge and Zoom knowledge to begin with in order to get on Zoom to learn more about Zoom.
I'll pass that on to Larry. He can put it back in there in the newsletter. That's the thing. And then the website might help too. We have opportunities to get the word out. Yeah. Well, let's wrap this up. We've covered this pretty much. You have food for thought and bring it back in for the next meeting, okay? And we had a great meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.
Goodbye.